Hello, I am Dr. Daintee Jones, and I'm here to offer a grant consulting session for a brief info course, a micro or mini course to help those who are interested in applying for the grant called Let Creativity Happen that is being offered by Houston Arts Alliance. It's coming, you all, by August the 29th, 2025, this year. Um, their portal will open. And so I want to walk you through how to manage that grant, how to apply for that grant, and then a little bit on managing that grant. Okay. All right. Just a little bit about me. Um, I have been in the arts since the 1980s. I'm also a minister, and I am the president of the Dignity and Direction Group, whose mission is to expose resources for education, employment, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. So this video is purposed for those who are artistic entrepreneurs, are what I call entrepreneurs. Okay. And so I want to take some time to walk you through how to handle this grant application. Okay. And this video is going to be embedded within an area that is under our Dignity Hall part of the Dignity and Direction group. You are going to visit this class in order to have all of the information you'll need. That includes the Houston Arts Alliance website, and it also includes a bonus list of tourism sites. Now, the reason I wanted to include those is because many of the applicants to this grant are going to they're going to apply to, or they're going to include in their application some more um, well-known areas and locations in the city for which to say that they will help with tourism for those spots. But what if you take the road that is less traveled and partner with some lesser known tourist spots? That could help you to be more competitive in this grant process. And so I've included 17 different areas, tourist spots in the city of Houston to help you out. And I also will have in this course an information page to help you to understand the guidelines that are required for this grant. Is that fair enough? And all for the price of $10. I'm not charging a lot because um, many of the people who will be interested in applying for this grant truly need the money. So I'm only charging $10 for it so that you can apply for this grant, but have a little help with the consulting to be able um, to hopefully win this grant. Okay, so I'm going to get started and share with you some news that you can use. All right. So again, this grant is called the Houston Arts Alliance Let Creativity Happen grant, and it is for the amount of 2,500. For several of their grants, they will give out stipends. They will give it out in four stipends. And when the third stipend is done, then they will ask you to complete a report on their portal. And then after you complete that report, they will give you your fourth stipend. Okay. Now, that may or may not be required for this grant, but for their larger grants, it is required. So I just wanted to let you know about that. Now, their website address, and you'll see this when you enroll in the course, um, because I'll have this information sheet included for you where you can actually just take the time and go through the information sheet for this information. So their website is www.houstonartsalliance.com. Okay. And this Let Creativity Happen occurs 3 different times throughout the year. It is now time for the third and final round. It is going to be, the grant application will be available from August 29th to September the 27th, 2025. So you can't see the grant application until August 29th. Now, the grant term will be between January 2026 and December 2026. Okay. Now, important. When you go to the website, the HoustonArtsAlliance.com website, and you look for Let Creativity Happen for the guidelines, it's going to have 2 pages of things that you should not do, that their grant cannot fund. And I want you to read those before you even apply so that you're not wasting your time and you're not wasting the grantor's time. Because if you try to get them to fund any of those areas, they will mark your grant ineligible. So you want to look at those before you even start, right? One of them being it can't have, you can't tie it to religion or the church. You have to be very careful about that. Also, you can't use it for K through 12 um, in a particular way. It can't be part of curriculum for K through 12. So you want to be able to look at these ineligibility criteria before you begin to write your grant or to brainstorm about what you want to have funded. All right, so be sure to look at those 2 pages before you begin. Now, you can compete for this grant as an individual artist or as an organization. So if you already are part of an organization, the organization can apply, but you can also apply as an individual artist. Yes, as an entrepreneur, you can do that. And so the guidelines booklet will show you the different criteria or requirements if you are applying as an artist alone. You can also apply with a fiscal sponsor, meaning there can be an organization that will support you to be able to apply for the grant. And if so, that fiscal sponsor needs to also apply in the portal, if you will, to sign up in the portal so that they can be recognized by the Houston Arts Alliance. Now, Houston Arts Alliance gets its money from the hotel occupancy tax in the city of Houston. And so think of it as a cycle. They're obtaining money from the taxes for hotels. The hotels and the other tourist spots would like to be used. They would like more people from inside the city and outside of the city to visit these areas, these spots, these sites, these hotels. And so you are trying to help them to have more people to attend. All right, that's the objective. You want to have them to attend. For example, I had a reading of a play at the Lone Star Flight Museum that is in the city of Houston. They only get about 5,000 visitors per year. Well, when I had an event there, we had about 50 people in the room. That represented 1% increase in the visitors to their location. And that's what you are hoping to do. You want to create metrics for how many people you believe will be added to the footprint of visitors who will come into the building and who will hopefully spend money in the building. All right, that's your objective. So you want to take in your artwork, whether it's visual art or performing arts, and you want it to attract people to the venue that you choose. That will then up the visitors' numbers and spending dollars at those tourist sites. Yes, makes sense? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So you're going to sign up into the portal for Houston Arts Alliance, and you want to check this site often, at least every 2 weeks. What I like to do when I have a grant there, I like to check it every Monday. Because they'll send you email messages if they want to communicate with you, but they also will have notes within the portal where you can see what's due, or if they have some questions in advance, or if they want you to make some changes to the grant. So you want to check in their portal often. And what would it hurt to check it like maybe every Monday so that you'll know what's due, or you'll know what is new? Also, they will have throughout the year different grant session information sessions. They also have recorded sessions. And additionally, you can reach out to them for your own grants visit. You can meet with the grants team. So they are very transparent and very available to you to be able to help you to walk through the grant requirements. So we talked about the funding and where it comes from. Let's now talk about what the grants support. So for the Let Creativity Happen grant, this grant hopefully will amplify artistic creativity and innovation in Houston. And so for this grant, they prefer projects that take creative risks that may not qualify for more traditional opportunities. And they support innovative ideas that redefine artistic boundaries, reshape the conversation about art and art experiences, and or establish unique opportunities to experience art. And you will find this information, which um, has many quotes that I took directly from one of their files that's on their website. It's at files.haatx.com, so that you can familiarize yourself with their vision, so that when you're writing your language, it should sound similar. Some of the words should be similar to what they're trying to do. So as you are creating your grant language, it should resonate with their grantor language, so that they will be able to see that this is a good partnership, a good fit. Now, if you have regular programming or regular schedule of activities, this grant will not support it. They want this to be something that you don't usually do. Or maybe you usually do it and you have a location, but you want to change that location to help out tourism in Houston, in the city of Houston. They want this program to be independent of your organization if you work with a nonprofit organization. It has to be separate and independent of your organization. And then for collaborative work, one artist must serve as the lead applicant for the program. And this lead artist will be paid directly. And so if you're the lead artist and you hire other artists to work with you, that's not considered a collaboration. So know the difference. Hiring other artists is simply an HR function, if you will. It's not a collaboration. However, if you choose to have a production at a location that brings tourism to Houston, that will be considered a collaboration. Okay. So some success elements that are listed in the guidelines for this grant, they're going to be looking for community engagement. So you're bringing people in from the community to engage with you on the project that you are showing them. They want to see measurable tourism from outside of Houston, or they want to see neighborhood impact. So, are you helping to bring people to a particular neighborhood in the city of Houston? They also want to see great social media presence. So, on all of the different social media platforms to which you have access, they would like to see mention of this event and how Houston Arts Alliance has given funding for it. So they want to see the announcement. They want to see images on these different platforms. Okay. And then also, they would like to see documented support of local artists and creatives. So make note of that. Have your flyers, have a public service announcement, and mention it on social media. You might even have some interviews of some of the local artists, along with images, candid images of the production. Also, you can include videos of a certain size that you can upload to the portal for both your application and for your final report that will be due. Okay, so as an individual, there is an eligibility checklist for the individuals. So individuals have to be at least 18 years of age. And also, the individual will have to show proof of residency in the city of Houston. One will also have to upload work samples, which can be, again, candid images from other work you've done. Um, Also, HAA will sometimes ask for a PDF copy of images from your work samples. There must be a public presentation. But what's awesome is that the public presentation can be in person, or it could be a live stream of an in-person event. which sometimes comes in handy if the location or locale that you've chosen for tourism is a little smaller. You can then open it up. Or you may want to include a speaker or historian who is not um, available to come to the space physically, but you can have a webinar of the live event, and the guest speaker might be on Zoom and can still be included. So maybe it is someone from a museum in another city who has a lot of information to add about your artistic um, offering. And so you could make use of live streaming what this artist um, or theoretician has to offer for your event. So it could be in person, live in person, or a live stream of an in person event. Okay, you can only apply for one grant program per project. One grant program per project. So, say you have written or created different projects, you would need to apply separately because you can only apply to one grant program per project. Okay, so HAA has different grant programs. They have Let Creativity Happen, which is what we're talking about now. They have city initiatives. They have a festival grant. They have support for organizations grant. And so, and they have another, the acronym is SACI, SACI. And so you want to keep up with what different opportunities you have and um, comply with what they're saying about one grant program per project. And then they only want you to have one application per grant period. One application per grant period. So since they have 3 rounds per year, you can only apply for each of those rounds. If you were to win, say you apply to grant round number 1, if you were to have been awarded in that grant period, you cannot apply again in round 2 or round 3. So if you're applying from August 29th to September 27th, that means you can't have already have been awarded through round 1 or round 2. All right. And then you must submit your applications by deadline. You have to do that. So the deadline is September 27th by 11:59 p.m. But you can submit, like you can do your legwork now so that when the portal opens for this grant on August 29th, you can just begin to get that done already. So again, look at those requirements for what they cannot fund first so that you get that out of the way and you don't mistakenly apply to for something they cannot fund, which also includes meals. So if you're having food at your event, do not ask Houston Arts Alliance to pay for food. They let you know on those 2 pages of what they can't fund that food is one of those options. So you would have to come up with the price of food through another avenue of funding. Okay, and so if you are one of the awardees, they're going to ask you to fill out a W-9 form for them. They're also going to ask you to fill out an ACH form for them. On that ACH form, you're going to need to know the routing, the routing number for your bank, and you will give them also your account number for the bank, and they will send the money there directly. Now, in the portal, in the HAA portal, you will be able to see notes from them on where you are in the stages. They're going to show you a stage that the grant is being reviewed. They will tell you if you have been awarded. They will tell you when they're going to send out. So it'll have a stage that says the amount of money you're about to receive, and if it is in the first wave, second wave, third wave, or fourth and final wave. They will let you know that. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to share with you that you need to look at that portal often so that you can see where you are in the stages of acceptance or decline or edit. They might ask you to they might ask you for questions for clarity. Okay. And when you fill out the application will have what's like a rubric. So they are going to grant you up to, let's see, 60, 80, 90, up to 100 points for your application. And it will be divided into one, 5 major areas. The first will be for your detailed project proposal. That's worth 30 points. That's almost a third of your points. So you'll want to be quite detailed about what your project is. What will happen in your project? And you might want to think of a journalism approach of who, what, why, when, and where to be able to put that down. Now, another way of looking at the detailed project proposal, you can think of it as sort of an executive summary of what's going to happen. And so, what do I mean there? You can write that detailed project proposal last, because after you have written the other part of the grant, which is the public benefit, the stewardship of public resources, the timeline, then you can go back and summarize to make sure you're hitting all those points and you're gathering their attention as quickly as possible with your detailed project proposal. It's going to be the first thing that they ask. You're giving a title to this ask, and you are telling them how it's wonderful, but in summary form. Okay, you'll get to expand more during the other sections. And so those next 2 sections will be worth half of the remaining points. Half, they'll be worth 50 points cumulatively, and that'll be under the public benefits section, which is divided into 2 sections. It's the community impact at 30 points, and it's the collective creative identity section for 20 points. So how it is benefiting the public is worth 50 of your 100 points. So you'll really want to think about that. You want to think, and you'll look at their definition. Now, they've already told you they want to see how you will be innovative. They want to see how you will bring in tourism with this, with your piece, your performance, or your visual arts piece. How many people do you think you can bring in? What will the success look like? What would that look like? You'll give them some metrics that you are hoping will happen. So community impact and also collective creative identity. That's worth 20 points of that as well. And so what will that look like in the community for your project to happen? What will that look like? Yes. And so you might want to look at metrics like how many young people you like to have access to what you are bringing because maybe they don't know it, or maybe there is a type of artwork that is not seen as often as you believe it should be, and you are trying to preserve it. So whatever your selling points are, think of it that way. You're bragging in a way. And please don't be shy about bragging because your competitors will be bragging. They will brag about what it is they're bringing. Okay. Also, you want to keep in mind, go back to what you studied in your English writing course, where you're looking at what's called a rhetorical triangle, where you're looking at logos. So you're bringing in what's logical, right? You're bringing in data. You're trying to solve a problem through your art. Yeah. So you're looking at data and you're looking at what's reasonable for your logos. For your ethos, how are you credible? Like, is there someone who is a spokesperson who has said, this is a way to solve this problem? You can bring in that idea of a spokesperson. And then how is it a good thing, right? Because ethos is about ethics as well. What is the good way to do this? How do we go to a good fight? Yes, what's a fight worth fighting by bringing this art here because it is solving something in our community. Um, you might consider a pain point in our country right now, which is isolation. Yes, the Surgeon General's office is very concerned about people being in isolation as a result of COVID. Some people are still afraid to come out. And so, how might your art solve that? How might your art solve that? Okay. That public benefit will give you up to 50 points. You want all of your points. Okay, then the next section is called the stewardship of public resources. That's going to include a budget table. Now, when I attended one of the workshops for this grant, one of the leaders there from the Houston Arts Alliance reminded us, pay yourself and the other artist. Pay yourselves. They are trying to make sure artists are receiving money. So you're going to put this in the budget. So one of the most expensive items of your budget will probably be the space that you are renting for that day. If as Because as an independent artist, you might not have your own space. That will be one of your largest items, if you will, to include in your budget. After that, you are paying for marketing, and then you get to pay your artist. So think of it that way in terms of how this 2,500 can be divided and can be used. Okay. When For my event, I was able to stay under 2,500. And so it can be done. Choose a venue that has an affordable price that will fit under your grant amount. And then that will help you to be able to show. You'll show your invoice for the rental price when it's time to show your how you spent your money. Okay, so that budget table is worth 10 points. It's 10% of the 100 points that you're hoping to win. So be thoughtful about how you are going to spend that money and start to do your research now. See, because if you start to do your research now before August 29th in terms of the cost, then it won't be difficult for you to create your budget table. All right, then they want just 10 more points, 10 more possible points. You're going to have a timeline of what you will be doing leading up to the event and then the day of the event. What would that look like? Are you writing a play? Will you also staff it? Are you um, buying your art supplies and then creating your artwork? Are you writing music and then having rehearsals with other musicians? That is what your timeline would be. And you'll include that. And see, it's only 5 points, so you don't have to spend that much time on it, but you do have to include it. And then the remaining 5 points will be you'll be asked if you are paying artists for this event. And you'll click yes. That'll be easy, right? Because you're an individual artist. And if you include at least one other artist, that's an easy 5 points. So really, you only have to build 95 more points if you at least include another artist within your grant. So that'll be an easy 5 points for you to obtain. Okay, now something to keep in mind also for you to be able to apply for this grant is that you must maintain residency and or have headquarters in Houston. You have to conduct all of your project activities in Houston for that entire grant term. So that grant term is January 2026 to December 2026. That means you cannot move. Say you were planning to move to spring, you cannot move until January 2027 outside of the city of Houston. You have to live in the city of Houston, and they're going to ask you to show residency. So they're going to ask not only for your driver's license to show your age, but that you're over 18. They're going to ask for a copy of your lease or a copy of a bill, like a utility bill for that time. So you'll have to show that, and you cannot move before then. So if you think you're about to leave the city of Houston, then you won't be able to apply for this grant. Okay. And what they're going to do if you're awarded one of the projects, and the great thing about this is when I attended the grant session, they try to give away money to, I think she said at least 90% of the applicants in this area. So what would you lose? What would you lose other than a little time of creating this application? You don't have to pay to apply, and you may end up with $2,500 for an event. So what would it hurt if you are trying to brand yourself, share your brand as an artistic entrepreneur? What would it hurt? Okay. So you might as well try it out. So they will email their final decisions to all of the applicants. And again, I suggest checking that portal on a continuous basis. And then, because also, if you are awarded a grant, they're going to give you 100 days past receipt, and that's when they sent that to you for you to sign that you accept the grant. You get 120 days. So you want to check on that to make sure you don't miss your deadline. Okay. And then finally, your final reports are due to Houston Arts Alliance within 30 days of the end of the grant term. So 30 days past December 31st. So that's going to be near the end of January 2027 that they are going to ask you for your final report. And you must include copies of the City of Houston and the Houston Arts Alliance logos on what you have printed for your program of that day. All right. Okay. I know that was a lot, but again, I have this typed up for you in the at the link that I showed you, and I'm going to share that again on my Dignity Hall site. So again, if you visit dignityhall.myicourse.com and click on the course catalog, you'll have to create a login for yourself. You will be able to see all of this along with the bonus list that I have for you of 17 different lesser known tourist spots in Houston, some lesser. So you're hoping to look for a venue that serves, it partners well with you, or it may not seem like a direct way of where people expect to see art or expect to hear music or expect to see a play. But there is a commonality when you partner, and when the guests get there, they get it. And you are helping another organization to have to build their brand as well. And that's a great habit to have, because many of Houston's funders or grantors want to get as much bang for their buck as they possibly can. So when they're helping you, they're helping someone else. So they're helping an artist, an individual artist, and that artist is also helping a tourist spot, and they are helping the community by exposing this spot to them. And they are able to see what is there, what is in the building. And that also isn't just what they're offering with their mission that is educating you about what's happening in that building. That's other opportunities as well, because maybe someone who visits is looking for employment. Well, those different organizations also employ. So you would be not only exposing people to your hard work and your art, but you might be helping people to find employment. You just never know. So I applaud you in advance. Go ahead and sign up for this information. It's not a course where you've got to, um, go in more than once and take a test and such. No, it's an informational course where you'll be able to play this video over and over. You'll be able to see the info sheet, and you'll have more intel about the process of applying for this grant. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to look at this video and study this, and also give me a shout out. You can email me my About Us tab at dignitieshouse.org, just in case you want to let me know how you are faring, how you are doing. And that way I can brag to others about how many artists are actually being blessed here in the city of Houston. Until next time, I'm Dr. Daintee Jones, president of the Dignity and Direction Group and founder of Dignity Hall, where I am offering grant consulting information. Until next time, bye.